Well, a slow start to our Sunday. It's raining. Raining all morning long. Raining all morning long, and I hate this weather. So I didn't fire up the engines very early today. Made our way over and got a drink at Starbucks, and we're going back to the house now. Now, Amy and I we want to do our video for the babies today, which we're going to do, top 10 list. Amy wanted to do some ridiculous top 47 list or something. I said we'd grade the horses all next week. She doesn't like, and I get it, right? She doesn't like leaving horses off a list that trained well. And there's validity in that. 100% there is. You know, the last thing you want to do is not talk about somebody's horse after the horse trained really, really well this week. There's a horse we're going to talk about later. I started my list. So the way I look at my list is I look at all the horses that I thought did a good job this week or have been doing a good job. I take all of them, put them on a list, and then one by one I go through until I whittle it down until I get to my top 10 list. My original horse that I put at 2.
We still didn't watch that one. I asked you like...
Yeah, we can watch set one before that. I won that set with Bobby.
I know.
Okay, it's just letting you know. The horse I had at number 2 ended up not even on the list when it was all said and done, which might sound silly to you. I'll explain it when we do our top 10 list, but I believe there still should be, here's your gold star. You were the best horse for right now. You were the best horse of the week. And if that horse went from 2 to 11, then so be it. That doesn't mean he or she won't get to 2 again or number 1. But when push comes to shove, there has to be a pecking order. There has to be a ladder. And I think there is. What about the people that own the horses that are number 1, 2, and 3? They should deserve to be happy also.
I know, but it's hard to dethrone a horse just because it had a bad day.
No, it's not. It's the way it is. If you're a boxer and you're having a bad day on your title fight, I'm gonna tell you what, you're gonna get dethroned. That's just the way it is. And there's not much more about it. If the horse is as good as you and I believe it is, then it will reclaim that throne. That's the way the world works. So yesterday was a bit tricky. Horrible weather in Ontario. I had no idea. I'm racing in Northfield, and I'm looking for my short sleeve summer suit.
It was
beautiful.
18 degrees here. Okay, I don't know what that is. 68.
36, 32. Yeah, very good. How'd you know that?
I guess.
Pretty close.
And it was 0.
No, it's actually 32. Yeah, it's 64, 65. But yeah, it's pretty close.
It was 0 at Mohawk.
Was it that cold?
0.
Oh. It was, I was looking for my short sleeve summer suit, and I turned it on. I wanted to watch Trosa go, and I'm like, oh my God, that's disgusting. It was pouring rain and muddy. Did you watch Trosa's race? Oh yeah, we watched it earlier this morning. He broke the hobble. I don't know exactly what happened. Brand new hobbles on Trosa. So on the front of the hobble, you have a buckle that sits up, and the hobble hanger fits into it like your belt. Well, I saw James after the race make a beeline for the paddock, and I'm like, that's an aggressive move. I mean, is it raining that hard? You can't go around the turn? And then I see something flopping. The hobble broke. The horse, James never noticed it. No one noticed it. Halfway down the lane, he comes it breaks the hobble hanger, and I thought the hobble hanger come undone. It's a no-no, but they watched them closely at Mohawk to make sure they're all taped. The actual hanger, where it connects the hobble, snapped off, and Trosa paced right out of the hobble. And as he went under never made a break, and as he went under the wire, had one hobble flapping. If you watch the end of the race for Trosa, you can clearly see the hobble, and when they go past the wire and they zoom in a little bit, you can clearly see the hobble just flopping there. So James is very lucky, Trosa's very lucky, but man, he's turning into a nice horse. You know, I'd said this to Daniel a few weeks ago. I originally said, get that horse out of Ontario. If they don't want to race him in the Nommers at 2, we'll take him racing Miami Valley at Northfield, and he'll make lots of money. And he may have made more money here, but he's going to be a better horse because he was in Ontario. That horse there, I don't think we've even remotely seen his ceiling. That's going to be a good horse for quite a while for Daniel, that's for sure.
There's 2-year-olds in it.
Makes you think about how many other Trosas are sitting there in Australia right now that we might be able to scoop up.
Just need Lasix.
Yeah, just need Lasix. We may need a little trip across the pond. It does make one wonder, that's for sure. Especially since it's so hard to find good horses here right now. The only problem is to fly them here, I think is 15 or 16. It was anyway. It might even be more now. 15 or 16 U.S. and then you have to quarantine for 2 weeks. And I think what happened was we flew Neptune and Trosa into Chicago, if I'm not mistaken. The horses quarantined somewhere in Chicago, and then they were shipped here. And this was like an all-inclusive price. Buy the horse, put it on a plane, ship it to Chicago, quarantine for 2 weeks, get on a truck and drop it off at your door. That price was all-inclusive. But it was literally twice what the horse, I think the horse cost 20 in Neptune, maybe 20 or 30, but it was another, I forget what it was, but it was almost another 20 US before the horse landed at our door.
Think about it though,
it might be worth
not
it.
even that bad.
So anyway, it's something we can think about moving down the road. But Trosa definitely looked some kind of good last night. And then you saw Drebin make a break. Something's bothering Drebin. He's off a little bit left hind. I told Dominic, I said, well, one, he's due for a rest. So that's first and foremost. But before we rest him, I want to know what we're resting him for, if it's something more than just him needing a break. So he's going to go back to Dr. McKee's on Tuesday morning and have a full workup and figure out, now that we know what we're looking at also, it wasn't just, his knees are a little sore because he's a 3-year-old or 4-year-old, who's been going.
Originally, when I was talking to Michelle, I was like, oh, it must be his knees.
Yeah, no, it's definitely left hind. I think it's in his foot. And this might sound stupid, but as I said to Dominic, I would rather you come back and say there's a faint line like Mounds for All had, a faint line in his foot, rather than there's no suspension though. There's no indications that there's any soft tissue damage. So it looks like it's either a pus pocket that's being very pesky, a deep bruise, or some sort of a line somewhere. But I'm okay with the lines. The lines are a certainty, right? It's simple bone. It heals. 4 to 6 weeks, you're fine to go. Whereas you're looking at soft tissue, you never really know. So my first question was, are you absolutely sure there's nothing wrong with that left hind suspension? He said, Anthony, there's no swelling, no heat, no anything in any of the ligaments or tendons in his left hind. Great. Everything else we can deal with. But regardless if it is a bruise, pus pocket, or a line,
Pus pockets are never line, or never pus pockets.
Yeah, especially in hind feet, not very often. So usually what you're looking at is 3 weeks in the stall, 3 weeks in the pool. Generally, this is how we treat run-of-the-mill lines, whether they be in knees, ankles, sesamoids, pasterns, feet, anything like that, is 3 weeks in the stall, 3 weeks in the pool, re-examine, and start back, right? Now, it's not going to happen today. So that was Drebin. It's certainly not the way. The horse was so good 3 starts ago. I didn't think he could beat those 2 horses, but I would have loved to see him when he was at his best in with them. But we'll get to see him at some point down the road, just not right now. So he'll have a break regardless of what it is. He'll have a short break and back to work later on this summer. That's generally what we've been doing with our 4-year-olds anyway. Spitfire was the same way. Raced him right up until May or June, I think, last year, and then gave him some time off. So Drebin's going to need a little break. We'll figure out what's up with him and have him back going in no time. Now, Manhattan Money raced way better than I thought he would, and that's not to say that I thought he'd race bad, but to leave in the mud, to leave out of the 8-hole, put him on the front, follow some decent horses, and it looked like he was going to get swarmed late in the stretch, and he ended up holding on for was he second or was he third? He was third, right? Third. He raced good though. I thought he raced really well. Now, the last horse, unfortunately, because of the cancellation at Mohawk and the rest of the card, the last horse to race was Gorgeous Package. I didn't really know what to think. I guess deep down, quietly, I was a little disappointed with her first race. I trained her much faster than that, and I just thought she was a little flat. But as we look back on the way that week went, a number of horses were flat, and I didn't really know what to think. We took the hood off her, put earplugs on her. Dr. Latessa had done some work on her. Totally different horse. Her last quarter might say 28, but her last eighth was 27 second speed for sure. She was flying coming out of the last turn. And actually, as we come out of the turn, Keith Cash's horse stepped on my whip somehow, ripped it out of my hand, and I finished up the mile with no whip in my hand. Just chasing her, but you never really have to get after her anyway. Gorgeous Package was really good. She draws inside next week. We're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna get to race her next week. Surely she can't draw 7 again.
What class is that?
It's like an open. It's not the open, but it's an open condition class. It's a 12,000 class, so it'd be, I don't know, 3 from the top, maybe something like that. Non-winners of fillies and mares. Non-winners of 5 or 6, whatever it is. Anyway, a good night last week. A pretty good week, especially coming off such a horrible. Tough week for me And we'll talk about more of that in the opening in a couple of videos this week. But I want to get to the 2 yards. I want to get to the opening. But I wanted to get you guys an update for last night. For the most part, Trosa was great. Drebin, we got to figure out what's up with him and then go from there. Manhattan Money was great. Great second start from him. It looks like he's going to do in that class. And Gorgeous Package was awesome. Tonight we have Arson racing in the open, and Patrick, they got Arson at 8-1. I'm going to tell you what, I cut him loose coming off the car. I think 8-1 is going to be a disgrace. Arson and Patrick DePrano racing tonight, and then back to the rest of the week. Delicious Stone DK picked for first or second on Monday, and then Tuesday we get some of our better racing coming up. Blue Ventura drew the outside and up a class, but the way he raced the other day, he was very good. We'll talk more about him in the opening this week. Admiral Dio in a better spot, I think, this week also. And now that we know a little more about him too, I think he's in a good spot. Tenacious Hanover, trying to get him back going a little bit like Gorgeous Package, quite frankly. He was a little flat his last 2 starts. I expect a bounce back from him on Tuesday. And then Greatest Ending and Century Legion. I think Tenacious got an outside shot on Tuesday, but I think every other horse we're racing has a decent shot on Tuesday night. So we'll talk more about this in the opening. Take care.